Okay, what today's video is going to be about is this product here that I'm making for an event. It is titled a 4-part nuke for an upcoming event that we're planning. One of the objectives is to put together this nuke and have it go off. I went with an electronic one before that had to set a timer and we had to wait. Electronics failed, they had all kind of problems. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to break this down and then show you how it's all connected up together. And we'll start off and go from one part to the next. Okay, the first part is this barrel. This is a chlorine barrel that we had from a pull that a guy gave me. I actually just sealed it up, put tape on it, put these stickers on the side, on the top, all the way around. The most important part that you're going to notice here is this wire assembly that I have hanging out of here. What I did is just drill 2 little holes bigger than the wire, stuck them in, filled it with hot glue so they're solid. What we might do is we might tape this there, but because it's loose, it's not really going to have a problem. And this can be carried, and it's not fragile or anything like this. So you can throw it around, do whatever you have to. But this is actually the base of the nuke that they have to plant. All the other parts work in conjunction with it, but they need this part to get it to work. Okay, move on to the second part. Okay, second part we're going to show you here is I had an old power supply UPS that died on me. And this was, I tore it all apart, and this was just the circuit board that's inside. And this is one of the connections that was on there. And I just soldered some connections that have black, yellow, red, and orange, which work with the power supply that I have. You're also using these side connections over here and this one side connection over here. I'll show you that as we move along into the props and how to properly put it together. Part number 3 is a dead ATX power supply that I had. First thing you'll notice is on the top you have this spot where the radio plugs into. It's basically just the charging station that it had. I actually ran a pair of wires into the front here, little hot glue, and a pair of wires into the LED port, which was over here, that busted out, and hot glued them in place. Also, you notice the rest of the wires are wire tied up. We're not using those. The only wires we are using at the time are these 4 colored wires, which is an orange, yellow, red, and black, and then these 2 that I have encompassed with the ends on them. I'm going to zoom in on these so you can get an idea what these look like. Okay, first of all, here's your 4 ends, your black, your yellow, your red, and your orange. They're all got these coverings on them. They're slip fittings. They just slip on the connections, and you go 1 to 1, orange to orange, red to red, and so forth. These 2 connections are basically a small and a big plug-in connector that go on the side of the motherboard. I'll show where they go in. Well, that's the end of part 3. Okay, the fourth part we're going to call as a 2-part section. It's basically this old dead radio that we had, walkie-talkie, and I painted it orange so you could see it laying in the brush when we had it out, because this was an objective. You had to find this to plug it into something. And it also comes with this little piece of power supply cable. It's got a plug on one end and it goes down to a connector on the other end. So basically you're plugging this into the power supply and you're plugging this into the motherboard itself, or circuit board that's there. We're counting this as a 1 part together, and I might tighten this right up on this so you can't lose it. Rubber band it on there or something like that, but this is 1 part. This is part number 4. Alright? Starting with the base part, which is the nuke, you're going to have the power supply. Now, I have this, I might draw on the top of this to say where it's situated, but for now, this is basically how this just sits. It's just going to sit on top. You're going to be using these 4 connectors and the connector on the side here. Okay, we're going to move on to the electronics part. Part number 3, I was going to put it in a box and all that, but if you just set it right on top there, okay. Now, you see this big red wire? Here's this big black wire. Red normally doesn't go to black, but they are the same connector, so they fit into each other and they connect up. So that is basically the power for the board, or like the arming circuit or the explosive circuit for that. That's what I'm calling that. Now remember your 4 wires you had over here? You have this one here that has the 2 small ends. Now on this side of the motherboard is a little one, which I will plug in, and a bigger one, which I will also plug in. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so maybe you can see that. Here are the 2 wires I'm talking about. They plug on this side, okay, and that's it. You're done on that side. So we're going to zoom back out. Okay, on this side, or right in front I should say, that's where your 4 wires come in play. Orange, black, and red. So you basically take the black, it slides on the black. The orange, or the red, slides on the red. The yellow slides on the yellow. And the orange slides on the orange. Okay, we'll zoom in on that so you can see what I did. It's simplistic in its design. It's all leaning forward a little bit. You can see the same colors go together, same colors go together, same colors go together, and black goes to black. Okay, so in this scenario, you have the power supply wired in to the Nuke, wired into the circuit board, but you have no power going into the circuit board or no radio communication. Okay, so the next part, which will be off camera, but it doesn't really need to be here, is the radio itself. Okay, plugs into this spot here. So you can hear it clicks in. Alright, so I'll move this back off. So you can see it's a big friggin' radio. It's on top there, but the most important part was in front of us. And the power supply on this side has a plug. What you're doing is you plug in the plug in here, and it goes in one way, okay, and it goes down to this circuit board right here. I'll zoom in on that. As you can see, it plugs in right there. So you have this power cable there plugged in. So not only are you getting the 4 parts, but you're making 1, 2, 3, 7, 8 connections. So let's just say you bring this bomb over and you connect this and you connect these, you forget this one and you connect this one. The bomb is still not armed. The ref would have to check and make sure all the points are armed, and he can either tell the person that's not armed or tell him that he missed wiring. I would actually just say not armed and let the guy figure out that he's got to do this. My whole object on this, the 4 parts are scattered all over the field, and they are objectives. You find each one to put it in a central location to detonate the bomb. Okay, now this will arm the bomb, get it to go, and you can have an immediate detonation, or you can just have a captured bomb. It's ready to go and transmit to it that it's going to go off. All right, that is my thing on the bomb itself. There must be a ref there to tell them that's together. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, like say somebody wants to steal a part. The most important part out of all of this is the power supply. Like if they unplug these, okay, and unplug these 2, take the radio out, and take the power supply, there are 3 spots there. There's 3 parts of the bomb. Without a power supply, it does not go off. So they could take this out and disable the bomb. All right. You can either have both sides trying to work to either get the parts and disable them, or get the parts and put the bomb together and then like take it. It's a scenario where you either gather the parts to one location, or you gather the parts and then set them off, or however you want to do this. You can have it say that from a remote location it goes off and there's a killing effect for X amount of feet on the field, or this area then is off limits, you can't get into it once it goes off. Whatever you want to do after the bomb is set off. But right there is a completed assembly. When you plug all these little pieces in here to make sure that it's connected. See, it don't take, during the game, you're doing this while you could be under fire. You know, you can do it relatively quick and put it together. As you can see, I just wired it back up. It's good to go. This is a completed assembly. Now, they can say detonation immediately, detonation 5 minutes, detonation 10 minutes, whatever they want to do. And then the counter would have to start with a ref or a timepiece on here, however you want to do this. And the other team has to come in and disable wiring. You know, they have to take a whole section apart. So if they're taking the circuit board off, they have to disconnect these 7 spots. Taking the power supply off, they have to do 7 spots as well. If they're taking the radio, all they have to do is take these 2 connections off here and take the radio with them. This is the quickest amount. This way they can't launch the nuke. They can't detonate it without the radio signal. Okay, but you need both parts. If you only steal the radio, it's half. It's still powered up. They can manually set it off. What I would do in this scenario, I'm sort of rambling on here, is I would actually designate from the team only ones that can assemble the bomb are an engineer. This way you don't have anybody willy-nilly just walking in there and start plugging shit in. You designate, depending on the number of people, an engineer. Okay, an engineer can come in and assemble the bomb and it's ready to go. Okay, an engineer can come in and take the bomb apart for the opposite side if he wants. Alright, now if an engineer can take this, we have a centralized building that you want to set it up and get the points. You put all these together, there's 4 points, you figure 25 points per object, put it all together, you win this scenario and it's going. I don't know if it's, I want to count it as 1 big point or 4 separate points, you get to 4 objects. That's what I say about side missions or whatever. This would be a whole scenario. Each one of these would be points. And also, if you get this and disassemble it from the main point, you could move it to another location and set it off. Closer to their spawn, farther away from your spawn, so you have a dead zone that they can't travel through. That they no longer, that was one of my scenarios in the one place we're playing, is if they take this out of the central spot where it's supposed to be, they can put it in this one location, which is off to the side in the middle of the field, and designate that as a dead zone. You can take yellow tape, wrap it around, have a ref going around, like that's a dead zone, you can't go through there. This way it would funnel people to one section of the field and take them out of another section of the field. Just a thought. So that's my nuke. I kind of ramble on here, but real simple parts. I don't think I paid anything for these. All these little parts I had, stuff I just put together, old power supply, these are dead things. And any kind of barrel would work, or even a box if you want. Just something to put multiple parts. Now I was planning on screwing this fast to this, but then I thought, oh, let's have the 4th part, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to get, and you got 4 part scenario to try to put them all together. Simple game plan, or simple game idea, something that you guys might want to do. You know, some people might go crazy and put all kind of LEDs and power it up and have a timer and all that. That's fine, but I've found that in my experience in events, I've had all these electronic parts, and even though you tell the people, don't throw it, don't bang it, don't slam it, you get a guy 5 feet from the objective slam on something into throwing it into a wooded area to make sure that he got it in there, or going into a building and sliding it across the floor into a wall. And if you have electronics or something like that, it could get damaged, banged, or whatever. Sure, you can raise hell with the guy about doing it, but it's going to happen. People are going to trip and fall and smash stuff. All this stuff falls, breaks, ain't going to hurt a damn thing. You know, so I look for a prop that can be destroyed, lost. I don't care. I can rebuild this out of junk parts that I have. So that's my take on this. This is just one of my ideas for an objective in a game. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.
What the fuck was that?